Gojo analyzes the situation about the real, figuring two veils are separating the access of non-sorcerers in one of them as well. He then casually walks in the air, making it seem like he's about to step on the heads of the people in the station. He knows what the intention of all this chaos is, but decides to play along with what his enemies want from him. Yuji, Mei, and Uai are about to get on their missions when they are updated about Gojo going inside the station alone. Yuji wants to support Gojo even though he is well aware of the strength Gojo owns, but they are given the responsibility to deal with the veil situation from the points that are creating it. Yo is a little pissed at Mimi having to run around due to Gojo and thinks it should be the other way around. Yuji is a little confused about the dynamic of prioritization out here. Gojo casually lands on the train track, coming across his long-lost enemies, Jogo, Hanami, and Choso. He faces Jogo once again and mocks him for being ready to not make any more excuses for losing this time. Jogo seems to be a little overconfident when he decides to throw the same statement at Gojo Satoru to not make excuses when he loses. As Yuji and the two self-obsessed siblings reach Shibuya, the updates about the veil situation tell them that the person who landed the veil as well as the spirits must be in the space between the two veils. There are spirits landed in the veil, but they have not yet been attacking people. So the actual problem is the transfigured humans that have been dropped to hurt the trapped ones. Mei decides to use her crow's perception skill to send a crow down the tunnel and visualize the situation. Yuji tries to say something, making Yui shut him up for disturbing his mighty elder sister. Mei tells him it is fine. Her crows travel for a good amount till they disappear. Mei updates the two about what she saw underground and where her crowd could visualize before they were killed off. She tells Yuji that it must be that place where their culprit lies. The doubts about the veil bend highly towards Mahito, whom Yuji refers to as Patchface. The three have to diverge in two ways, and knowing Yuji well enough that he won't even want to kill even a transfigured human, she decides to take up that job, sending him to fight off the cursed spirit in the other place. Yuji walks down the tunnel to find a grasshopper spirit feasting on a human. The grasshopper deduces it must be a jujutsu sorcerer, wanting to prove he is smart, unlike other spirits who have no sense whatsoever. However, Mr. Smart Spirit has a hard time pronouncing the word jujutsu, so we all should also dumb it down Sorcerer for the grasshopper's sake. The spirit tells Yuji to leave as he is guarding the veil and Mahito is not the one who is mainly behind this. Now aware of the name of Mr. Patchface, Yuji also noticed the nail-like figure that must be linked to the casting of the veil. Yuji decided to not stall the situation any further. Yuji's attack slams the spirit through the wall. The spirit, who is still insistent on being strong, tries to question if Yuji even knows what kind of cursed spirit he is. Now, this was a bar too low to assess what cleverness is. Yuji looks at the spirit confused, but answers that he is a grasshopper spirit because it looks like a grasshopper. This feels like a huge weight has been dropped on the spirit's head, making him shocked that Yuji is smart too. Yes, it is only a grasshopper spirit with a short lifespan who thinks Yuji is a smart guy. Even with a pea-sized brain, the grasshopper still fights pretty well. The combat eventually reaches the point of using arms to punch and hit the other. Yuji's 2 arms against the spirit's 4. Both of them fight intensely. The spirit is initially confident of having an edge of sharper sense and 2 extra arms, but upon not being able to hit Yuji even once, he starts to worry until eventually Yuji manages to get to it. As a last attempt, the spirit tries to use its sharp abdomen to hurt Yuji, only to get outsmarted and outpowered again. With the killing of this spirit, Yuji destroys the veil nail while Mei does the same on the other end, successfully lifting this veil. The three have decided to use the innocent non-sorcerers as a restriction for Gojo. Choso uses his blood-slicing technique using trapped people as bait, but that doesn't even reach Gojo. This is followed by Hanami and Jogo punching Gojo in sync from either side. But as Gojo stands there unbothered with a mock chuckle, the two try to have their fists reach him but fail even after domain amplification. Gojo then moves away and stands at a height facing them. Jogo thinks he is doing something when he kills a person to threaten Gojo to not move from his place. But Gojo lifts the side of his mask to reveal one eye glaring at Jogo's audacity to think they can defeat him when this is all they have got against him. Jogo smiles as defeating Gojo Satoru has never been their plan. He wouldn't accept it in front, but is well aware of the fact that he cannot just defeat Gojo. Geto had told them they would be safe as long as they didn't use their domain expansion, as Gojo would never initiate it and sacrifice the lives of so many people. The three were given the job to stall Gojo for 20 minutes to successfully seal Gojo Satoru, which would be the job of Geto and the prison realm. Not to forget, this plan to defeat the Gojo Satoru was being devised on a little playdate in a playground by the team of enemies. When everyone is asked about how they find Gojo Satoru, a range of colorful remarks about his ego, jokes, lack of seriousness, and selfishness are heard, except Yuji, of course, who finds his mentor the best in the world. But even with all of this, one thing comes down to a common point for all. Gojo Satoru is the strongest. With his mask off, Gojo singles out which of the three cursed spirits is he going to go for first, and points for Hanami with that. With this open declaration of who is going to die first, Gojo proceeds to walk up to them and stand right between Jogo and Hanami. While the two try to attack Gojo with all their might, he holds Jogo's arm and twists it around to break it. He then chases Jogo wherever he tries to run in the whole station, intent on getting rid of him. Hanami seems to get pressed about being ignored, as it feels like she was taken for granted by Gojo. But it feels like this was something intentionally done by Gojo. Hanami is frustrated about being taken easy and drops her focus from sticking to domain amplification to use her original abilities to show Gojo her capabilities. Jogo is well aware of the bait Hanami is picking up on and tries to warn her not to let go of the domain amplification that has been neutralizing Gojo's attacks at them. Grinning with the most psychotic grin ever, Gojo jumps on Hanami, holding out on the trunks of her head. He takes out the trunks, ruthlessly hurting Hanami, sharing he was sure she couldn't use domain amplification for protection and her technique for offense at the same time. Jogo is smart enough to not let go of his amplification, while Shozo is not even an important figure in Gojo's plan since he isn't a cursed spirit. Hanami and Jogo once again try to attack Gojo simultaneously. But are they able to touch Gojo? Still no. They keep amplifying their domain to reach Gojo while he grins and keeps increasing his strength to neutralize their attacks. Gojo then turns towards Hanami, still owning his wild expressions, and starts walking towards her. His aura is enough for her to be backed away till she is slammed into the wall. This cursed-ass spirit is blasted into nothing. Jogo is shocked to see his partner dead as he recalls Geto wanting to have the three keep Gojo around the prison realm for a solid minute. So he is finally sealed away, but Jogo is sure that they can't restrict the manic that is Gojo. Jogo starts running around wildly to not be successfully caught by Gojo. As Gojo follows Jogo, Shozo slices through the non-sorcerers to mess with Gojo as well as attempts to hurt him. With the ongoing situation, Gojo starts feeling sure that he needs to exorcise some of these people to bunt down these enemies. Geto observes the situation, wanting Gojo more on edge and more tired before he activates the prison realm. Yuji finds a traumatized human sitting near the track and asks, "What is wrong?" The person mentions all the humans with them turning into monsters, being loaded into trains, and taken off somewhere. Yuji figures that the train must be moving towards Gojo. Gojo and every innocent human is surprised at the announcement of a train arriving at the station. People hoard near the train doors, waiting for them to open, finally thinking they are going to be free but not expecting transfigured monsters to appear and attack them once the doors open. Mahito also jumps out casually from the bunch of monsters on the train. He tries to attack Gojo and feels a weird satisfaction upon finally getting to witness firsthand that his attacks actually cannot even reach Gojo. Once again, his enemies were very wrong if they expected Gojo would never use his domain expansion whilst among non-sorcerers. Well aware that the expansion can kill the civilians, Gojo is also aware that the monsters will do so otherwise what Gojo does do, something no one would take a risk for. Entirely on his instinct, he figures that 0.2 of a second is the amount of time he can expand his domain without destroying the brains of the non-sorceress around. So, in these 299 seconds, Gojo Satoru is running at light speed and killing every transfigured human there is in the situation. As Gojo breathes heavily, tired of pulling a move so dangerously, he notices a box in front of him. The box suddenly opens, revealing the prison realm. Gojo understands the situation and is about to turn and walk away when there comes a voice that would halt him anywhere. A long time no see in the voice of none other than the most precious best friend he had lost, Geto Shiguru. With all the memories and the face in front of him, a wave of hope flashes in the eyes of Gojo that his friend is alive and back, but this tiny hope is what stalled him into being trapped by the prison realm. Gojo analyzes Geto, and even though his 6 eyes tell him it is not fake and indeed Geto, his soul tells him otherwise. He asks Geto who he is. Geto smiles, calling him annoyed for figuring it out so easily, and opens the stitches he has had on his head. As the upper part of the head comes off as if opening a lid, the brain of Kenjaku is revealed. Since Geto's body was not disposed of well, Kenjaku had taken his brain's place and taken over the body. Kenjaku tells Gojo that he might free him from the seal in 100 years or so, once he is done with the long list of plans he has for himself. The plans which cannot be fulfilled if Gojo is free since he is too strong for them. Gojo chuckles, reminding Kenjaku that he wasn't the one who once defeated the body he is currently controlling. Kenjaku, however, does not find Yuta a threat as dangerous as Gojo Satoru, while Gojo himself is confident in Yuta's capabilities. As Yuji, Mei, and Ui walk through the tunnel, he suddenly receives a voice in his ear about Gojo being sealed away.